All right, this video is going to talk about the order of operations. Basically, if we're going to evaluate expressions, we should also be able to talk about the order of operations in which we evaluate them. So we've got some examples down here at the bottom, and we've got our rules up at the top. Remember that the key to the order of operations is just taking all the right steps at the right time, as Arnold Glasgow says. It's simple to be successful, but again, we have to follow our order. So again, remember we always start with the parentheses, or what we like to call the grouping symbols. Not necessarily just parentheses, but they're pretty popular. We also have exponents following that. Then we have multiplication and division. They're kind of interchangeable, but if we have both operating kind of next to each other, we're going to follow a left to right pattern, or sort of that order will go left to right as we would think of it. We'll demonstrate that down at the bottom here. Then addition and subtraction follow those things. Again, they're also somewhat interchangeable, but you got to be careful with those negatives. Generally, that left to right pattern will help us out. When we're thinking about the order of operations, some people like to call it PEMDAS, just because we do talk about, again, parentheses is sort of being the most popular of the grouping symbols, followed by exponents, multiplying and dividing, again, kind of linked, and addition and subtraction. It's an easy way to remember that order. So let's start with the problem over here at the left. You'll notice we've got multiplication, we have an exponent, and we also have a little bit of addition going on, but the first thing I notice are those parentheses. So I need to start with what's inside of those parentheses. Well, inside we have the multiplication and the exponent, which means according to our order, exponents number 2 come before multiplying number 3. So we're going to start with that 5 squared. So I'm going to rewrite the rest of the problem. I'm just going to do one step at a time. 3 times 5 squared would be 25, or 5 times 5, plus 6. And notice I rewrote the parentheses again because I need to remember what's inside those parentheses needs to come first. Although multiplication would have come before addition anyway. So 3 times 25 is 75. And then we're going to add on our 6 for a grand total of 81. In the expression in the middle, now I don't see any grouping symbols there, but I do see some addition and subtraction. I see some multiplying and dividing. So again, that left to right rule is going to be very helpful this time. I would normally start with both the multiplying and the dividing here. So I'm going to start with the problem at the left. 12 times 4, which should be 48. Then I'm going to divide by 8 next, followed by, oh, look, I wasn't looking very carefully. We've got that 7 squared. Now the nice part is I can kind of get away with what I did anyways, because that addition is going to happen last, which means 7 squared is sort of on its own there. All of this other stuff would have come first anyways. 7 squared would happen right away, but I'm okay with that multiplication. That would have happened separately anyway. As long as I didn't accidentally add 8 onto there first, I want to make sure that that stuff's happening first anyways. So now 48 divided by 8 would have been 6. I can still say adding on 49 minus 1. And again, here's that left to right rule. We have addition and subtraction. So 6 plus 49 would be 55 minus 1 for a grand total of 54. And we get our nice answer there. Now, over here at the right, we have a tricky one. That big division bar technically also serves as a grouping symbol. So we're going to group the top. Everything on top needs to happen, and everything on the bottom needs to happen before we do that big division bar. So 7 times 4 is going to start off being 28, right? And then I've got all that stuff on the bottom, and I think I'm going to run out of room over here. So I'm going to go ahead and move back to the left. I've got 28. Kind of lop that off there. 28 divided by. On the bottom, I've got 8 plus, again, that 7 squared is going to be 49, and a minus 1. 28 on the top. Now I've got to do addition again, left to right. Addition becomes 57 minus 1. And altogether that's 28 divided by 56, which I know that 7 goes into both. I know that 2 goes into both. I'm guessing 14 goes into both. And in fact, I think 28 goes into both. 28 divided by 28 would be 1. And 56 divided by 28 would have been 2. Remember, if we have a 28 divided by what essentially is 2 times 28, we can cancel those 28s and get just a simple half. So again, I hope that helps you with the order of operations. As long as we were talking about exponents a little bit, just a reminder for you, exponents are just saying a number times itself over and over again. So 3 times 3 can be written as 3 squared. Or 4 times itself with 5 fours in there, again, is 4 to the 5th. That 4 being the base, that 5 being the exponent. So if we're looking at variables, x times x times x times x, over at the right here, x to the 4th, the base would have been the x, that's what's being multiplied, and the identifying the exponent is a 4. Now you got to be a little bit careful, again, with those grouping symbols, that order of operations. Down here at the bottom, 2 times x to the 3rd, if x equals 4 over here at the left, means that's 2 times 4 to the 3rd. Because exponents come before multiplying, that's 2 times 64, 4 times 4 being 16, times another 4 is 64, for a grand total of 128. But now the similar expression, 2 times x all to the 3rd, well, that means we've got a 2 times 4, but be very careful, the cube comes later, the 3rd power comes later. So this time I'm going to start inside the parentheses, and the 3rd power comes after that. So it's 8 times 8 times 8. 8 times 8 would have already been 64, times another 8, not just times 2 like it was up top. So I believe that comes out to 512, though you could always use a calculator and check me out on that one. So be a little bit careful. Again, that order of operations can be very tricky. Watch for those grouping symbols, watch for those exponents. Make sure we're doing everything in all the right places and all the right order. I hope that helps you out as far as exponents and order of operations goes. If you have any questions, make sure you talk to your teacher. Have a great day.